Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show here on News Radio 710 WNTM 99.5 FM The Jag. You can also watch on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page. Good morning to you. Already looking like a beautiful morning. Beautiful Monday morning. Another day, more stories about President Trump and his family and Russia. And I don't know that there's much to the latest thing with the meeting. The New York Times reporting about alleged some meeting with one of Donald Trump's sons and his son-in-law and a Russian lawyer. I don't know that. I think I've heard some experts say no crime. Not a criminal thing, but still it just adds more. It gives another several days of people talking about the president and Russia. I found that's when I saw that story pop up over the weekend, I found it very hard to pay attention to. Just I've reached a level where I've had about all I can handle of that story for a while. Come back to me when there's something really concrete. If you don't have something really concrete that's a big problem, then there are other things. I've just worn out on it. Now maybe you have an insatiable hunger for the president and Russia. If so, go online and you'll find a lot. People love writing about it every day. In fact, the president did meet with Putin Friday, and lots of reaction over the weekend. I did notice that some prominent Republicans, and you can guess who they would be, decided to go out in the media and say that they didn't like the meeting. They thought that the president was too friendly with Putin. So it's just different day, same news, different day when it comes to the president and Russia. Meanwhile, did you see all the stories? Did you pay attention to all the stories of the rioting and looting in Hamburg, the protests of the G20? I was wondering last Friday if some of the protesters, that there would be any positive anything for the people in Hamburg, that maybe some of the demonstrators would come in and spend money, and at least they could have something positive. And then over the weekend, I saw the stories about how instead of buying food, a lot of the protesters just destroyed stores and looted stores, just completely wrecked stores and went in and stole the food. So the people of Hamburg are not happy that they were picked to host this summit.
Time saver traffic from the Dean McCrary Audi Traffic Center.
Roadwork in Fairhope still has Highway 13 closed at Gayfer. They're installing a new roundabout at that location. The project is expected to run through the early part of September. No big accidents or breakdowns presently. If you're traveling I-10 across the Bayway through the Wallace Tunnel, Causeway, the Bankhead, and I-65 from Pritchard and Chickasaw to the I-10, everything's in good shape all around the area. With time saver traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Gulf Coast weather from Local 15 and the Kemco Metal Buildings Weather Center.
Good Monday to you, everybody. It's going to be a muggy start today. We are expecting sea breeze storms. We'll top that at 92, 40% chance of wet weather. Overnight lows in the 70s with a 50% chance by Tuesday. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News and this iHeartRadio station.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
News? Check. Traffic and weather? Check. Opinions? Check. This is the Uncle Henry Show, only on News Radio 710 WNTN.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you so much for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. In the last segment of the show, before Traffic and Weather Together, I was talking to you about the protests in Hamburg. You may have noticed this over the weekend, that there was the G20 summit in Hamburg. The people of Hamburg very upset that along with the summit came thousands and thousands of people, not from Germany, many of them, to come in and to protest, and not just protest, to tear things up, including looting. They're in Hamburg and around Hamburg, with hundreds of police injured in all of this. And one thing I want to mention about all this rioting and looting there, for most of my adult life, I've had people that were allegedly smarter than me and certainly more successful than me tell me that we just needed to be more like Europe in the United States, that they knew what they were doing. It was better over there. It's always better over there than it is here. They're more sophisticated than us. They're smarter than us. They know how to run governments better than we do. They take care of their people better than we do. We just need to bite the bullet and become more like Europe. And if we just became more European, everything would be fantastic. It would be utopia, Shangri-La, rainbows in the sky all the time. You could ride to work on a unicorn. It would, if you had to work, maybe you wouldn't even have to work. And you could just lay around with your unicorn. And so all my life, I've been told this all my life, that that I just was too stupid to understand why Europe is better. And so then I tune into the news and see not just a few people, but thousands of people going into Hamburg and tearing it up. Now what if things, so how is that better? Now, yes, we've had people tear things up here. But at least in this country, it was a little clearer as to why. We may not have agreed with the reason that people were tearing things up, but you could at least write down in a sentence why the things were being torn up. The people didn't seem very happy in Hamburg over the weekend. The rioters didn't seem happy. The people that were living around the rioting didn't seem happy. The people that owned the businesses that got looted didn't seem happy. What are they doing over there that I want to copy? Because I didn't see anything over there that I want to copy. I don't want to copy that. All those people that are more successful than me and allegedly smarter than me that have been telling me that it's better in Europe are full of it. They're absolutely full of it. I hate to tell you that you're full of it on a Monday morning especially, and I don't mean that in a derogatory way. Let me rephrase it. The people that have been telling me that are more successful than me and smarter than me, that have been telling me that we need to be more like Europe, could you rethink that, please? Could you rethink that and look at Hamburg and all that stuff that went on, and then come back to me and maybe explain how that fits in. There's a lot more to get to on today's program. And we'll get to it as time permits. Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening. This is Uncle Henry. I'm here with John McNeil of McNeil Aaron's Lambert Financial Group. John, isn't buying term life insurance like renting your insurance?
Uncle Henry, it can be. For example, let's say you're a 45-year-old and need $1 million of 20-year term. You would pay a guaranteed level premium of $73 a month every month for 20 years. At the end of that time, you will have paid $8,760 and theoretically rent your insurance. However, the same 45-year-old can buy the same 20-year $1 million policy with a return of premium option, which guarantees that at the end of the 20 years, they will get all their premiums they have paid. So if you have a term policy, contact your agent and see if you will be getting back your premium at the end of the term. If not, give us a call. And Uncle Henry, they don't usually tell you about this option at those 800 numbers that you call.
Folks, call the professionals at McNeil Aaron's Lambert and let them help you protect your family with affordable term life insurance. Call 666-5000. That's 666-5000. Or check them out online at malfinancial.com.
News Radio 710 and the grounds have partnered together to recognize the heroes among us. This month, we're looking to honor the friend or neighbor that always goes above and beyond for others. Nominate your community hero today at newsradio710.com, keyword hero.
First house, last house, mid-south, coat that side, porch, cul-de-sac, mid-south, coat that, brick house, townhouse, don't paint, coat that, dockside, poolside, outside, coat that, corner store, warehouse, mama's house, coat that.
Tired of painting your home every 4 to 5 years? This is Kevin Mamahat, president of Mid-South Coatings. Better than paint, more durable than latex. Mid-South Coatings is the ultimate alternative to traditional paint. And with our lifetime warranty, you'll never have to paint your home again, guaranteed. If you live anywhere in the Gulf South, call for a free estimate. And since Mid-South Coatings is much thicker than paint, your home will look like it's just been freshly painted forever. So before you paint your home with traditional paint or any product, call Mid-South Coatings for a free estimate.
Call 251-272-4440, 272-4440. That's 272-4440.
Red, white, maize, and blue, any color of the net, anywhere you're at, coat this, go south, coat that.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. Every day people ask me, can I still take advantage of today's low rates? Is it still a good time to refinance? The answer is yes. Now's a great time to call Quicken Loans at 800-QUICKEN. The rate today on a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 3.875%, APR 4.12%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to QuickenLoans.com. That's 800-QUICKEN.
Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender.
Hey, Facebook, good morning. Let me check and see. I haven't looked in on Facebook in a while because I've been trying to think. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to be talking about Facebook, I believe, in the next segment of the show on the radio because there's something that's driving me nuts. And I'm going to tell you about it. It's on Facebook. Don't worry, you didn't do it. Let me see. Here we go. Rusty Jones. Good morning. Now, Rusty Jones used an angry emoji on the Facebook video. Rusty, whatever. I hope everything's okay, Rusty. But thank you for watching on Facebook, Rusty and others. We do have, let's see, traffic and weather, and then back on the radio, I will be mentioning Facebook. There's something going on Facebook that needs to be stopped as quickly as possible. All right, stand by.
Some breakdowns presently if you're traveling I-10 across the Bayway through the Wallace Tunnel, Causeway and the Bankhead and I-65 from Pritchard and Chickasaw to the I-10. Everything's in good shape all around the area. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
It is definitely going to be a muggy Monday along the Gulf Coast. Dress light, light colors, light fabrics. Cotton and linen are good choices. Keep the umbrella close just in case. We'll top that at 92 degrees. We'll have about a 40% chance of storms. Lows will be in the mid-70s. And for your Tuesday, a 50-50 shot of showers and storms. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News and this iHeartRadio station.
You're home for Rush every weekday at 11. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. News headlines from Fox and from WKRG coming up. And Local 15. It'll take me a few years to get used to that. Local 15, Darwin, providing us with news headlines coming up in about 10 minutes here on the Uncle Henry Show. I've got something I've got to talk to you about briefly that's been driving me crazy on Facebook. Before I get to that, one more thing on the stuff in Europe. Now, over the weekend, you may have noticed the rioting in Hamburg about the G20 summit. The people there are very upset. They're angry at Angela Merkel for not anticipating this, not doing a better job of figuring out that this was going to happen and protecting the businesses and people that were affected by the rioting in Hamburg over the G20 summit. And I was telling you in the last segment of the show that how all my adult life, people more successful than me and allegedly smarter than me have been telling me that if we just were more like Europe, everything would be so much better in the United States of America, that we need to look to Europe and follow their lead. They're more sophisticated and civilized than we are. That's where the culture is. All we've really got is jazz music and Motown, and everything else good was there, and that we just really needed to follow their lead. And it didn't. When I watched what was happening in Hamburg, it didn't look like the people there were really happy. And I know that a lot of the people that were rioting, from the stories I read, that a lot of the people that were rioting and looting did not speak German. They were from many other European areas and from who knows where else in the EU. So it just didn't look like something I would want to copy. I just wanted to mention that the same people that were telling me this, I can remember vividly during the impeachment of Bill Clinton. After Monica Lewinsky, the Bill Clinton-Monica Lewinsky thing, there were two executives in this town that told me they were delighted. They said, "We're delighted. This is great. This is going to be good for America that Bill Clinton was caught with Monica Lewinsky, because this will mean that in the future it will be okay for our politicians to have Monica Lewinskys, because that's the way it is in Europe. And we can tap that resource of philandering, great men who are philanderers." Now this, I know this sounds ridiculous, but this is what I was being told. They were saying, "Oh, we've got so many talented men in our country, and we won't give them a chance because we have this attitude that we don't want men to philander and have their mistresses. And if we could just be more like Europe, in Europe they can have their mistresses." And look at the greatness of Europe. This was told to me. This was told to me that it was going to be great. That I guess they were hoping we'd be like a giant France, which now, years later, doesn't seem like it would be good to be a giant France, does it? No offense to France. All right, let me move on to something else, because I could go on and on about how I'd rather fix the problems here and not try to copy them in Europe, because they've got their own problems. All right, and Angelo is offering me some constructive criticism about my choice of terminology. Yes, I understand that tapping into resources, I may have used that out of sequence, and I apologize for that. All right, let me talk briefly about something on Facebook that's been driving me crazy, and it's all of the people. I'm blessed to have lots and lots of Facebook friends, many of them that I've never met. And they've been sending me helpful messages about Jaden, is it? Not to accept Jaden K. Smith's friendship request because Jaden K. Smith is the Antichrist or something. Here's a news story for you from the Telegraph in Great Britain. Facebook users are being duped into circulating a message warning them not to accept friend requests from an account called Jaden K. Smith. The message being sent via Facebook Messenger warns that the account is a hacker who has the system connected to your Facebook account. Well-meaning users are sharing the message widely, but as with most viral Facebook posts, this has little grounding in reality. There's no evidence of any account going on sprees of adding users, and even if they were, they would not be able to hack into an account just by becoming a friend. So this is a hoax. This is a hoax. The Jaden K. Smith thing is a hoax. Please calm down. Now, I wished I'd counted all the people that have sent me the Jaden K. Smith warning. And this morning I saw a new one. There's some other name. I think it was Anwar Jatal or something like that. So this is a hoax. This is a hoax. Please calm down. You don't need to warn anybody about accepting a friend request. Please calm down. All right, there's more to come. Actually, you want news? It's coming up from Darwin and Fox. That's next on the Uncle Henry Show.
This is a Bloomberg Market Minute. Stock index futures are signaling a higher Wall Street open on this Monday. S&P futures are up 3 points. NASDAQ futures are up 19. Dow futures are a little changed to lower. They're down about 6 points. NYMEX crude is down about 1.2% at $43.72 a barrel. While market turbulence increased across asset classes last week, stock investors are about to embark on one of the calmest earnings seasons in history. The CBOE Volatility Index, known as the VIX, closed on Friday at its lowest level since 2006. Analysts are calling for a 6.3% profit increase of S&P 500 companies in the second quarter, compared with a 14% jump in the first 3 months of the year. Fed Chair Janet Yellen's testimony before Congress will be in focus later this week, and we'll watch for reports on retail sales, industrial output, and consumer prices. The S&P 500 gained 0.6% in this last session on Wall Street. Gina Cervetti, Bloomberg Radio.
President Donald Trump pledged to build a wall to keep America safe.
The wall's going to get built, and the wall is going to stop drugs, and it's going to stop a lot of people from coming in that shouldn't be here.
But liberals are fighting Trump every step of the way, even creating sanctuary cities.
And good morning, Facebook. Thank you for with the story that I shared with you about Jaden K. Smith, or whatever his name is. Let's see, Jaden, what is it? Yeah, Jaden K. Smith. People are being duped into circulating a message warning them not to accept friend requests from an account called Jaden K. Smith. What do you think would happen if we started circulating the opposite, saying that Jaden K. Smith is a nice person and you should accept his Facebook friend request? If you could write something like that up for me, I'll be sure to share it on Facebook. All right, let's see. We're going into traffic and weather and news now. And I would love to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you again in a moment, but I need to hear the news. This is one of those days where I need to know what's going on. Most days I try to be ignorant. Today, I really need to know something. So stand by. We're going to listen to the news, and I'll be back after the Fox News.
Showers and storms. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News and this iHeartRadio station.
Hundreds honor a teen still missing. Good morning. I'm Local 15's Darwin Singleton with this iHeartRadio news update. Hundreds have gathered in Daphne to remember the life of the Fairhope teen who remains missing this morning after a jet ski accident July 4th. Henry Wise was a former student athlete at Daphne's Bayside Academy. So last night, the class of 2017 walked to the memorial tent together where friends had built and placed a 9-foot cross bearing Henry Wise's name. There, they share memories about how the 19-year-old had touched their lives. Wise went missing July 4th at Port St. Joe, Florida, after he and another teen fell off a jet ski in front of a boat. The other teen survived. A Mississippi Gulf Coast man is lucky to be alive after being attacked by an alligator. It happened over the weekend on the side of a road in Hancock County. Authorities were trying to relocate the animal when one of the trappers was bitten and taken to the hospital. According to the Sheriff's Department, the alligator was about 10 feet long and weighed hundreds of pounds. And eyes were on the skies this weekend during Red, White, and Blues weekend along Pensacola Beach. The Blue Angels wowed the crowds with their death-defying maneuvers. Fans began setting up beach umbrellas before daylight. The Blue Angels managed to get the show in, even though rain was a threat most of the day. News breaks while you sleep, so when you wake, we'll catch you up on what's happening along the Gulf Coast and around the world every weekday morning on Local 15 Today. We start at 5 a.m. Local 15's Darwin Singleton with this iHeartRadio News Update.
Fox News Radio, I'm Paul Stevens. The president's eldest son, Donald Trump Jr., issuing a statement responding to claims that he and other Trump campaign aides met a lawyer with ties to Russia during the campaign.
It reads in part, the woman stated that she had information that individuals connected to Russia were funding the Democratic National Committee and supporting Ms. Clinton. The statement goes on to read, her statements were vague, ambiguous, and made no sense.
Fox's Kevin Corke at the White House. Just back from the G20 summit, President Trump heading back to Europe later this week, visiting France on Friday.
President Trump accepted an invitation from French President Emmanuel Macron to join him for Bastille Day. The two leaders will review a traditional military parade on the Champs-Élysées, which this year will mark the 100th anniversary of the entry of the U.S. into World War I.
Fox's John Decker. Fox News. We report. You decide.
When you need spends a little too much time in the sun relief.
Yikes. Ow, what the?
Attack of the angry mosquito relief.
Hey, watch this.
Scraped knees.
And an elbow.
Relief. You need Gold Bond Pain and Itch Relief Cream with lidocaine. Gold Bond has the maximum strength lidocaine available without a prescription and starts working on contact to numb away pain and itch. Gold Bond with lidocaine. Relief starts now. Use as directed.
From the mind of Tom Scholes, the legendary band Boston, with Joan Jett and the Blackhearts. The Hyperspace Tour. Live across North America. Get tickets now at livenation.com. There's more at bandboston.com.
You don't want to mess with the IRS. They have the power to garnish your paycheck, levy your bank accounts, and even take your home or business. That's all true. But thankfully, they're offering a way out. The Fresh Start Initiative. If you qualify.
All right, I'm back. Uncle Henry Show back here on Facebook. We're going to be on the radio here in less than 2 minutes. Now, in the last break, did I hear, was that a commercial for Boston? The musical group Boston? I don't know what Boston looks like. So how do I even know it's really Boston? Just curious about that. All right, we'll be back on the radio here in less than a minute. I do have some email that has come into the show, so we'll get to the email inbox. Good morning to Lisa Hill McGee. Lisa Hill McGee, let me tell you, it's okay to accept Jaden K. Smith's Facebook friend request. If you get a friend request from Jaden K. Smith, it's okay. You can accept it. He's not as bad as people say he is. All right, stand by. We're going back to radio here in just 10 seconds.
Visit Habitat.org.
We love Nick Saban. Just wanted to get that out of the way. This is the Uncle Henry Show on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. This is turning out to be a gorgeous morning. It really is. Now, I'm saying that inside. I'm looking out a window. I'm inside where the air conditioner is removing humidity from the air. I might have a different take if I were out, like picking up litter. Let me go to the email inbox. I have received a few email communications. Oh, coming up in about 15 minutes, Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com went and saw the children's movie Spider-Man Homecoming, and we'll get his review of that child's film coming up in about 15 minutes. Let me go to the email inbox. Subject line on the email is Roll Tide Unk. Email reads, good lovely Monday morning. Ain't it a beaut? How was your weekend relaxing here? And that email from 60-year-old Chris in West Loxley, who adds P.S. 54 days, baby, roll tide roll. Chris, thank you for the roll tides. Let me say back to you, roll tide roll! It was a wonderful weekend. It really was. I did forget to take some medication over the weekend, and it was allergy medicine. And so that means that there was a period of time where I was inundated with allergies. But other than that, it was a wonderful weekend. My dog was active. My dog was active and did have an appetite, so I was very pleased with that. The only bad thing was I did go see the Spider-Man movie, which was a terrible mistake. All right, let's see. Back to the email inbox. Thank you for the roll tides. Let me go back to the email inbox. I do have another email from another listener. Subject line on the email is Kelly's forecast. Email reads, good Monday morning to you, Henry. Kelly Foster, during the last break, recommends cotton and linens to help combat the heat and humidity. Can you reveal your fabric choice for the day to us? And that email from the Common Man. Now, the Common Man mentioned that Kelly Foster of Local 15 did recommend a certain fabric. Let's listen. Let's do an instant replay.
It is definitely going to be a muggy Monday along the Gulf Coast. Dress light, light colors, light fabrics. Cotton and linen are good choices. Keep the umbrella.
All right, so she's recommending cotton and linens as good choices. I'm sure I don't want to take my shirt off to look because I'm on camera. I'm sure that I'm wearing some type of cotton polyester blend because that hits my budget. My budget is polyester cotton blends, usually. So I do have some stuff that's 100% cotton, but that's usually doesn't last because of my inability to properly launder. Thank you for asking, the Common Man, but I'm in a polyester cotton blend, not wearing the recommended fabric.
710 Time Saver Traffic from the Main Street Flooring and Design Traffic Center.
We are seeing more volume hitting I-10 for those of you coming in across the Bayway between the Eastern Shore and the Wallace Tunnel, Causeway and the Bankhead, and I-65 as well. We really haven't had too many big accidents on the board today, but a lot of road work. In Fairhope, they've rolled out a repaving project on Highway 104 between 98 and 181, so look for restrictions along the way there. With Time Saver Traffic, I'm Ray Romero.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
Now, Gulf Coast weather from Local 15.
It is definitely going to be a muggy Monday along the Gulf Coast. Dress light colors, light fabrics. Cotton and linen are good choices. Keep the umbrella close just in case. We'll top out at 92 degrees. We'll have about a 40% chance of storms. Lows will be in the mid-70s. And for your Tuesday, a 50-50 shot of showers and storms. I'm Kelly Foster for Local 15 News in this iHeartRadio station.
This report is brought to you by LifeLock. It's morning. Here's an eye-opener. LifeLock can see more threats to your identity than you can see if you're just monitoring your credit. And if something happens, a U.S.-based specialist can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK to save 10%.
This morning at 9, ask the expert. Then Rush at 11. Right now, it's Uncle Henry on News Radio 710 WNTM.
Uncle Henry Show, thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. You can also watch on the News Radio 710 WNTM Facebook page. I see that Ed Weisskopf is watching in Boulder, Colorado. Ed, be very careful around the brownies and the cookies out there and the gummy bears. Be very careful around those treats. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com will share a review of the #1 movie in the country, the child movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. In previous segments of the show this hour, I was commenting on what I saw in the news over the weekend out of Hamburg, Germany. As I saw that not just protests, but outright looting and tearing things up in Hamburg, people upset with the G20 summit. And it made me remember all the people that have told me my entire adult life, people more successful than me and smarter than me, have told me that if we could just be more like Europe, if the United States could be more like Europe, because they're more sophisticated than us, they're smarter than us, they have better culture, better food, they're just more civilized, their art is better, everything is better. If we could be just more like, if we could be more like Europe, then we would be living in Shangri-La. It would be paradise if we could be just like them. And so I looked at what was going on over there. Didn't look like anything I want to copy. Seems they've got problems too. Some of their problems seem worse, a lot worse than our problems. Yeah, we've got big problems. Their problems look worse. Let me go to the email inbox. I've got an email on the topic. Subject line on the email is Europeans. Email reads, in the early 90s, while working an AC/DC performance, I was introduced to what was then and have been told still is to this day a culture fad that supposedly made males and females attractive to one another. Not bathing. Yep, they believed in going natural. Well, while we were setting up the musical equipment, quite a few of us noticed this nauseating smell, and it was one of AC/DC's roadies. When we confronted him, he stated, "You Yanks don't get. This is the going thing, mate." We immediately summoned our boss, who in turn told the head roadie, no more work till Mr. Personality gets a bath. His boss, in turn, ordered him to do so or else. He obliged, and we were very thankful. Those intelligent Europeans, in that email from 60-year-old Chris in West Loxley. So, now, Chris, I don't know, that may be an unfortunate stereotype, either about Europeans or roadies, or both. And I don't really want to spread any kind of stereotype on the program. Chris, I would encourage you to write a book. Now that you're 60 and you've settled in West Loxley, your experiences working in concert venues with AC/DC, that would make a truly interesting book, I'm sure. . Coming up, traffic and weather. Also, Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com saw the #1 movie in the country over the weekend, the children's movie, Spider-Man Homecoming, and we'll find out how much he liked it.
You've heard the news.
It's a new generation of missiles.
You know the story.
All options are on the table.
Now it's time to share your opinion.
We have a very serious issue in the world right now called North Korea.
News Radio 710, WNTM.
Does your patio furniture need a makeover? Are you tired of uncomfortable, low-quality furniture on the deck? Then come see Coastal Patio Warehouse during the summer clearance event going on now. Specializing in commercial and residential patio furniture. You'll find them on Lakeside Drive in Mobile, between Cottage Hill and Highway 90, less than 1 mile from I-65. Their warehouse showroom has the largest patio selection on the Gulf Coast. They manufacture frames and cushions right here in Mobile, so they can sell at the very best price to you. See CoastalPatioWarehouse.com and at 751 Lakeside Drive.
It's not just any bike night this Thursday night at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola. It's a luau bike night from 6 until 9 at the dealership. Food available for purchase from Dragon's Catering. We'll have limbo and pin-up contests and music provided by the Crosstown Band. Also, it's BYOWE. Bring your own weed eaters in case you're called upon to trim some grass skirts. Can't be too prepared for the Luau Bike Night this Thursday night at Harley-Davidson of Pensacola, Highway 29 in Car City.
If you want to sell your home, if you need to sell your home, get in touch with my real estate agent, Sandy Frost of Roberts Brothers. Sandy Frost sells homes fast. I've worked with Sandy, and so has Bob. Bob, tell us about your experience with Sandy Frost.
The real issue with us is this was a house that was, quite frankly, not an easy sell. It was one that was in a location that you had to have a bit of vision to be able to see the value of the house. The most important thing we found was she was able to work the process so that in 12 weeks we had a check from the title company. We got more money for the house than I ever envisioned, to the tune of about $10,000, which is, in today's market, that's not easily done.
So if you want to sell your home, contact Sandy Frost. And here we are on Facebook together. Good morning to you on Facebook. There's a story that I want to hear. This is just for us. The radio listener is not going to hear this. I'm just intrigued by it. Let's see. The headline is Doggone Pit Bull Running for Durham, North Carolina Mayor. City government. And I think Scotty White might be calling in now. City government in Durham, North Carolina could be going to the dogs if a write-in candidate can get enough votes. Mark Mayfield explains. And we're not hearing Mark Mayfield. All right, well, that's wonderful. All right, well, unable to share that audio with you. There's a pit bull being run for mayor. There's a pit bull running for mayor in Durham, North Carolina. I think I've got Scotty White on the line. Scotty White, is that you?
That is me.
All right, Scotty White, we're going to be on the radio here in about 90 seconds.
All righty.
How's your mom?
She's doing very, very, very well. She says hello.
Okay, well, good. Good. She and I both are anxiously awaiting the results of the Nappy Awards.
Yes, she is.
Because if I win any, it's all because your mother voted several hours a day, every day for a month.
Well, it's one of her favorite things to do during the summer.
That's a wonderful thing. I hope that she got the Nappy Award for the medicine cabinet.
For Papa's medicine cabinet?
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully so.
What else did you do over the weekend other than waste your time on Spider-Man?
Oh, it was a very quiet weekend. I played board games with friends on Saturday, and yesterday watched The Mist on Spike with the Stephen King show. So.
All right, okay, all right. Stand by, Scotty White. We're about to go back to the radio. Watch The Mist on Spike. with cable television, we can waste our times. Now, see, I watched on Amazon Prime Video. I saw Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz on a Bob Hope special from like 1956. That's what I watched. And I think probably better than The Mist, although it's apples and oranges. All right, stand by. Uncle Henry Show. Thank you for listening to the Uncle Henry Show. #1 movie in the country and maybe in the world over the weekend, Spider-Man Homecoming, doing over 100 million. I think it was something like 115, 117 million. So I think it's the third. Scotty White is with us from ScottyWhite.com. Scotty White, have you seen the figures? Is it like the third money, like number 3 of the year?
Yeah, it's number 3 of the year. It beat Wonder Woman's opening numbers, which was surprising, but it's the summertime, so it's kind of the right time to do it, and I guess it was the right film to do it. So, all
right, Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com is a pop culture reviewer and podcaster. Go ahead and give us your review of Spider-Man Homecoming.
I think Spider-Man Homecoming is a great example of why Marvel Comics should have control of their movies. I think it's a very good film. It's a really good family film. It's something that you can, a good summer movie to bring kids to. It's got a lot of action, a lot of sense of adventure. It's focused on kids in high school, and it's a really, really fun movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it's the best Spider-Man that we've gotten yet.
All right, look. Have you ever watched these? See, I'm familiar with these shows because of my grandchildren. I've seen the Disney Channel with The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Miley Cyrus's Hannah Montana, and the Nickelodeon iCarly and Drake and Josh and all this kind of stuff, and Keenan and Kel and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm familiar, yes.
That's what it was like. That's what it was like, Scotty White. It was like watching a child's show on Disney Channel.
I think it was a good mix of that and a Marvel film because they looked at and knew what their audience was. They knew their audience was going to be teenagers.
Come on, you're an adult. You're a man.
I'm also a Spider-Man fan.
I'm a man.
So I'm also a Spider-Man fan. So I'm happy to see Peter Parker back in high school. The comics when I was reading, that's where he was at, and it fit. I think it really, really fit. I think it was a good, wholesome movie for the times.
Now, if you took Iron Man out of it, it would not have made $117 million.
Oh, I disagree.
I disagree with you. If you had taken Iron Man out of it, if you took Iron Man out of it, then it would be just another little child's movie.
Oh, spoiler alert, he's not in it that much. He's not as much as the commercials and trailers would lead you to believe. And so I think that was a smart move on Marvel and Sony's part to do that. I think he's in there just enough, and it worked. It really, really worked. I think Michael Keaton is brilliant, and it's one of the best performances that Michael Keaton's ever done. He's really good. And it's a villain you actually have sympathy for.
No, we don't.
Oh, yes, you do.
Why do you have sympathy for that guy? He was a thief.
He was a working man in the South. He's a working man who got pushed too far and had to do whatever it takes to protect his family. I felt for him.
Look, I can't believe this. This is what I can't. You are taking the side of the bad guy.
I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm just saying I could understand.
All right. It was just, but so you think it's the best one ever? Have you ever seen one of these movies that you didn't think it was the best one ever?
Oh yes, the last 5 Spider-Man films I've never been a fan of. I didn't like the 3 from Sam Raimi. I didn't like, especially like the 2 are just the Amazing Spider-Man films are just not nearly as good. And I mean, I think this is an example of why Marvel studios should be in charge of their own characters because they get it more so than the other studios.
All right, so this is going to be one of the top movies of the year.
We'll see next week, because next week's War of the Planet of the Apes is coming out, and that's going to give it some competition. I'm curious what the numbers are going to be next weekend, but if it's still number one next weekend, then I would say yes. But there's a lot of buzz between the new Planet of the Apes film.
All right. It was hard for me to get excited about it, Scotty White. It's a little child.
It is a kid's movie. It's a kid's superhero movie.
It's a child, and this is not a big spoiler. He's got in his little spider helmet, he's got like Siri talking to him, or Alexa. Yeah, well, that's just who needs that?
Well, I would like to have an Alexa or Siri in my helmet if I had one.
All right. Well, Scotty White, you liked it, and you predict that it will be a huge, huge success. It already is.
It's already a huge success. They're ready for a sequel. So I will tell everyone, like most Marvel films, please wait till after the credits. There are two in scenes for everyone to enjoy.
All right. Scotty White of ScottyWhite.com. Thank you, Scotty White.
Thank you, Uncle Henry.
Scotty White. His website does look very professional. I'll give him that much. Just if you look, you the adult, if you're listening to this show, you're very much an adult. If you want to know what it's like, turn on the Disney Channel or Nickelodeon and look at one of their shows. That's just what it's like. If you can stomach that, I kept expecting Billy Ray Cyrus to pop in, or one of those twins from the Zach and Cody show to just pop in with. That's what it was like. It was like watching something on the Disney Channel, only with more webs. All right, out of time for the hour. We'll get into actual news items. I remain irritable about the rioting in Hamburg, even though, another thing about the rioting in Hamburg, I've always wanted to visit Germany. I've been very curious about it, especially the history of the last 100 years with East Berlin, West Berlin, all that kind of stuff. Now I don't know that I want to go now with the stuff that went on in Hamburg. So there's a lot more to get into as the show continues here that does not involve children's films. Thank you for listening to The Uncle Henry Show. News is next.